Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Odd Ones. Today is episode 12, Lara. It shouldn't be a shock because it's third time we've recorded this video due to technical difficulties. Fourth time.
Mhm.
And then we also had Ninja
Still
Fly
is shocking though.
coming to get us. But
Season B, episode I.
yep. We're using the Walmart technology of or technique of labeling our videos and stuff now. Anyway,
I just got that.
yeah, because of how they
First time.
label their freaking aisles, and it's so confusing. So we are going into a book, and all four times we haven't even looked up what this stupid book is called. But
Raising gamers.
raising a healthy gamer, I think, is what it's called. But we will have a picture here somewhere, and we will also have a link down below for this book. And what this book is about is essentially, and this is just like a preamble before the book. We want to tell some stories about how we, grew up on some games, and then also our gaming addictions that we went through, and why we were going through that. But what this book is about is giving you techniques on how to help your addicted gamer to kind of leave the video games behind a little bit, not completely give them up, but have a healthy relationship with them. And this definitely can apply to your kids and with their phones and video games and all of it, not just video games. I definitely learned a lot of things in this. Yeah, let's not have the mic away from
Sorry about that.
because I do not want to record this again. But yeah, so I think this is probably a very healthy book for anybody, and it's not specifically geared towards only kids. There's a huge section about kids, but there's also parts talking about like how to help your, essentially have an intervention with your 20, 30, 40-year-old who's still living at home playing video games. So,
Basement. You got to do that.
I mean, they literally said that in the book. I mean, anything's possible. That's where Ballin was at, Mr. Ballin.
We'll talk very soon about how realistic that is.
Yep. So, Lara, I want to start off by asking, what was the very first game console that you ever played, and what game were you playing?
Console
Or PC
system,
console?
PC.
Yeah.
And it was Scorch or Minesweep because
I've
my
never
dad
even
played
heard of Scorch.
You are missing out. You're
Yep.
missing out.
Um,
Oh, it's kind of like that. I'm sure that you have seen, or I feel like you have even played. The On the phones they have the like guys who shoot or throw javelins or arrows or pitchforks at each other, and you have to go with.
nope.
Anyway,
Lost. Mine was
because I'm old.
Mine was Super Mario,
Mhm.
the very original Super Mario. I was like 3 years old, holding the controller and
Very wild to me.
Yeah.
Think of a 3-year-old playing video games like capably.
I was not
Is that
capable.
word capably?
I was not capable at all. I barely even knew how to.
You button mashed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could not make it past a Goomba, pretty much. I'm pretty sure. I definitely remember Brandon unplugging the second controller, and
I already have beef with him from one of the 5 times we recorded this.
I'll tell that story again.
At 3?
Yeah, I was playing.
No, him like unplugging the cord.
No, I mean he played the game, and I was holding the controller pretending to play.
A
lot of people do that.
Oh, that's redeeming.
Yeah. But yeah, I just remember the controller, the A and B button looking like Smarties.
Mhm.
And that was a very fond memory of mine. I never chewed on it. Never chewed on the controller. Definitely probably held it up to my mouth, but did not chew on it. Yeah, just like, this is nice. It feels like it's a party. But yeah, that was definitely first game. That and Duck Hunt. I mean, they were on the same friggin' cartridge, so makes sense why I played that. But do you have any fond memories that you want to share of, either childhood, adolescence, or teen?
As a teen, from 18 under, I can't remember really playing any games other than being with the cool cousin in the house, in the family, and going over to, so like there was a hierarchy of cousins, right? There were the older cousins who really weren't that much older, but they were older enough that they were the cool ones, and they got married and lived like on their own. And then
They're adults.
yeah, and I think they were probably 20, 25, between 20 and 25. But to me, they were whole grown people. And I was babysitting while they were out. And my cousin, who spent a lot of time with that set of the family, he was the cool cousin, like great personality, skater kid. Everybody wanted to hang out with Steve.
Yeah.
And so I was over there babysitting and he was with me and he was playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And I don't even know if it's 1, 2, 3, whatever.
Yeah.
And
whatever it was, it had busting music.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where I think that's where I really learned to like rock, actually, was my cousin and that. And that My Name is Mud. Is that the name of the song? Anyway,
Yes,
I digress.
it's
So,
famous.
I was playing and literally just learning to do the basics. And at some point, like you would, just like any other, game, you get scores. I don't know how the other games work actually, but if you did a ollie, you got 75 points. And if you did whatever, and you just had like 60 seconds to do whatever it is. And I remember going up one like ramp or something, and I did like a triple backflip with a shove it at the end or whatever. And I must have had like 6,000 points. It was something outrageous. And he was like, what? And we were all hype about that. And he talked about it for weeks. And I talked about it. Like, I was like, I'm cool now. Like,
oh my gosh.
I'm basically a skater.
Dang it. You turn into Avril Lavigne.
Exactly. Like I was a skater girl. See you later, girl. So that was like my favorite moment growing up was that. And I'll never forget about playing Tony Hawk.
Bro. So earlier, whenever we recorded, I'm going to give you four memories. This one isn't really a video game one. That's because before we started recording, I said, I'm going to give 3 stories. But this one isn't technically a video game. It's us getting the video game. Tell your rental story first, and then I'll tell you mine. Like, how did you get some of your games?
Oh, you could never do this now. But when I must have been like single digits, maybe early double digits.
I have never in my whole life heard somebody describe their age bracket as single and double digits.
Well, I was going into double digits, but then single digits made sense. Anyway, we would walk up there was a pawn shop right up the road from us, and my dad knew the owner, so it was totally cool for 2 young girls to walk up to a pawn shop with a creepy old guy. But maybe he wasn't creepy. I'm just making that up.
You talking about your dad?
No, the guy.
I was gonna say your dad's not creepy.
No, I hope not. Though he was like had a whole alternate life. They called him Buddy before that, and he played guitar, and I had no idea for a long time.
Cool. Anyway, I always thought he looked like Willie Nelson.
He gets that a lot. So we would walk up to the store, and there was the yellow pawn shop that you could go in and rent movies, rent video games, and then I think it was like $1 or something. And then there was one across the highway, which we couldn't cross that anyway, called Front Row Video, and they had a back row that you could rent way more, and we weren't allowed to go over there.
Yeah,
besides the fact that it was the highway. But
can you bring your mic down a little bit more in front of your face? Thank you.
Maybe. So that's how I rented video games, and obviously there wasn't save points like that.
Yeah. So a lot of people probably rented their games from Blockbuster. Specifically, I'm not going to get into it long. I always wanted to play Pokemon Snap because you could freaking... do you know what Pokemon Snap is? Okay, so you could develop your photos at Blockbuster. And
I didn't know that.
I didn't have an N64 long enough before somebody pawned it for me to get that game. So I really missed out on that one. But so I did not do the average thing and go to Blockbusters and rent video games. I didn't even know that you could do that until like Xbox 360 era.
Right.
So what we would do was we would go to our local grocery store called Miller's, and they had like this rack of games that you could rent games from. And every single time we would get freaking Donkey Kong, me and my brother. And we would like play it for a while and like maybe get to the second boss. Maybe. I mean, Donkey Kong.
That was hard.
It's a hard freaking game.
Yeah. I like the 3D World one, but
I don't know that one.
Where they go in and out of the caves.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about. Are you talking about while they're in the cart?
No. Oh, that hurts my heart. I played the crap out of that. I don't even know where I got it.
Oh, no. Are you talking about 64?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't play that because I didn't have a 64.
But I definitively do not like playing the 2D one. It's hard. The crocodiles always got
That's
me.
beautiful. That's a beautiful game. That freaking water level. The na 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 na. Just some freaking music's beautiful.
Right.
But anyway, so we would rent that game and we would play it for a little while. And every single time you take it back, it's like you go to rent it again and you're like, please God, please, if you want to do anything nice for me, God, just let my save data be on there. And
I
it
didn't
never
even know
is.
it saved the data to the cartridge.
Yeah.
Till just now.
Yeah.
Well, just
anything
then,
on
but just
the
now.
SNES, it would save. NES, not everything. You'd have to have codes and stuff. And you could cheat by getting codes and just hop into that level. But yep. So
I've learned something new every time we've recorded this. Every single time.
So we would get tired of dying to the first freaking boss or whatever. So we'd look at whatever Jeff's doing on there, whoever's save data was on there. And he would always, like, whoever this individual was a no lifer, and he would always get to the very end, and we were like, time to freaking see what we got here, see what our mustard's made out of, and we would die immediately.
What?
I don't know.
I like that one though.
But yeah, we would die
What our
immediately.
mustard's made out of.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm really having a hard time thinking about what 3 stories I want to tell because I have just so many freaking video game stories.
Can I pick?
Whether
I'll tell you.
No, I got it in my head. It's just hard because I'm gonna
if you're here to get something beyond just us telling stories.
Yep.
We'll timestamp this.
Yep.
But this is good to hear.
The first one is going to be kind of like a tragedy.
I love that you're like prefacing the story instead of just telling it.
So I'm gonna give 3 because again, I mean I could talk about Rock Band. I could talk about Super Mario World, which is my favorite video game, but I'm going to start with Pokemon.
Okay.
Because it's such a tragedy and rage-inducing thing that I'm sure many people have probably
This
experienced.
has made every cut. It definitely is tragedy.
Yes. I mean, it was heartbreaking. So I was playing. I'm going to tell the whole story because last time we were doing some other random things. So I'm going to tell the whole story on how I even got this game. So Pokemon was coming out. Pokemon Gold and Silver was coming out. And I was like, Mom, please, I want this for Christmas. Santa must bring this to me for freaking Christmas. And she was like, all right. My poor blessed mom. She went to 3 different cities to find this game. She shopped here. She went to Jack's, St. Augustine, anywhere that had a Target and Walmart, she went there. And somehow, by the grace of God, she found this freaking game for me and had it under the tree for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always thought that was special. And she did the same thing for Pokemon Yellow. But I always thought that was really special for her to do that for me.
That was pre Amazon, pre-order.
Yeah, exactly. So I got that game and I was sitting there playing it, and somehow I found out that you could get Scyther by doing the bug catching thing. Like you get to a certain town and there's bug catching thing where you just go in there with just Pokeballs.
Mm-hmm.
And you freaking
no battle.
No battle. Balls. And there's only bug Pokemon, and you have your commons like Weedle and Caterpie, and then you had your uncommons or more rare ones like Butterfree and Beedrill. But then at the top tier, like to win this little championship, you get Scyther. Or I think in the other game it would be, I can't remember if it's
you throw them balls good enough.
Yeah.
Scyther.
Well, it's walking around. That's the thing. You're just walking around this grassy patch trying to find it. Button mashing, even though they didn't do anything. And I think it was either Heracross or Pinsir in the other game. But I was going after that freaking Scyther. And I'm telling you, it was hours. It was during Christmas break. It was like literally, I want to say it was days. I was sitting there searching for this freaking Scyther and I couldn't find it. Or like I'd find one and it would get away.
Mm.
So finally, I find this thing. I'm pretty sure Grandma got run over by a reindeer is playing in the background, like the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it.
I didn't know that was a show, by the way.
Yep.
Show.
It's so cheesy. But I see it, throw my first Pokeball, shakes, breaks out, whatever. And, this whole traumatic thing. And I'm sitting there pressing B and A.
A little sweaty.
So back in the day, people who play Pokemon would, you would press every single button on that dang console to find that secret thing that doesn't work.
Right.
So I was sitting there pressing A and B, and finally I caught it. And I don't know how old I was back then, but I freaking jumped my happy little behind up and start hopping around the freaking living room, and I'm so excited. My brother's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I caught the scyther," and he's like, "Yeah, I don't care," and rips the freaking card
That's why I was
out of
mad.
the Game Boy.
Yeah.
And so all that, I didn't have time to save. Like literally, I just caught it, and in this specific area, I don't think you had time to save because it's like you caught the Pokemon, and then this cutscene kind of happens. So yeah, I was
I
pretty.
just feel like I need to do what I did last time to my brother. If I ever did that, I don't think I did.
Yep.
Maybe I did. I'm sorry. And if I did, and you don't ever speak to me again based off of remembering that, I understand.
Yep, that was my trophy moment.
Horrible.
Yep.
Horrible.
So then my second, well, probably my favorite video game moment of all time, like experience in general, was Halo 3. So my cousin and I was late to the game with Halo. So I had the Xbox 360, and my cousin and I played Halo 1. I think it was during summer break, and then we played Halo 2 and just completely beat it. And we were like literally we bought Halo 1. The next day we had some money somehow. Maybe it was Christmas break and we had Christmas money, and we went up to the store and got Halo 2. Beat the crap out of that, and we're like, all right, time to go up to EB Games
Who
or
took the
Rhino.
game home?
Hmm?
Who had the
That
game?
was
The
mine. They
ownership.
were mine. Yep.
Just asserted your dominance. We
Yeah.
split this, but that's mine.
Yeah, I like it. I'm pretty sure it was mine. Like that I bought it. But so we're going up to Rhino's or EB Games or John's Games. I can't remember because he was here back in the day too as Game World.
Oh yeah.
Yep. He taught us about like they had a expansion disc for Halo 2 that you could get more maps. So we go up to one of those game stores. I'm pretty sure it's EB Games or whatever. And we're like, all right, yeah, we're here for Halo 3. And they're like, not out, bud.
Ugh.
It's not out yet.
It's like looking for your favorites. Like you heard that like Kill Bill 3. I've been waiting for that movie, and everybody's not everybody. Oh, sorry. The internet said, "Oh, it's going to come out at whatever this year," and then never did it.
I can't remember what the time bracket was. I'm going to tell you. I didn't tell you this part last time. Halo, back then, Bungie's Halo had the best commercials, especially during this time. I don't know what the hell they were going through at this time, but it was cinematic. I mean, I've showed you the commercials before. With Halo 3, I mean, I'm telling you, it like brought me to the verge of tears watching this and get me so excited. Like nowadays, these commercials are stupid. Like,
oh, you were already into the story.
They have no story.
That
I mean, even today, like I love Halo.
Right.
It's one of my favorite game franchises. But it's just they've lost the soul.
Right.
After Bungie left, they lost the soul, and they anyway. Long story short, friggin' Halo ODST as well. I mean, that one friggin' again just brought the friggin' they. I can't remember if it was ODST or Halo 3 commercial, but one of them they had like veterans come on and they were like talking like they were soldiers in the war of this time, like with brutes and everything. And it was just so cool. They were like, yeah, Master Chief, he came in and freaking blasted them away and saved us.
That?
I'm getting a little choked up thinking about it right now. Literally. It just was such a cool time to be alive. But so I'm getting all excited. Literally, my mom, she was doing some side work and I was like, I want to get this game so bad. And she's like, all right, if you want to get this game, you got to come and help me clean this house and stuff. So I go there and I'm helping her clean this house. And immediately after we go and pre-order it, and we go to the midnight launch and everything. That was the first time I've ever heard of midnight launch. And the guy at GameStop, he was like, yeah, you can come up here on this time at midnight and get this game. And we were so excited. We go up there. We're like some of the first people there. We get some pizza and stuff. And just me and my mom hanging out up there, me and my long hair and everything with a Halo shirt on. It was awesome. And I go and get the game. And I mean, they brought it in on a armored truck because they were afraid people were going to steal it.
Damn.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, had one of the coolest what was it like? The Pro edition?
How cool would it have been if somebody was in the armored truck dressed up? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, short tangent here. Assassin's Creed, there was a guy, I love this guy. I can't remember his name, but he was really cool. He was like very Italian looking, and he would dress up anytime there was a new Assassin's Creed, he would dress up like Ezio.
I dig that.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, he had the whole thing. It was really cool. Um, but yeah, Halo 3 had like one of the coolest collector's editions too. Like you'd have like this rack that or this little thing that you could put the game in and then Master Chief helmet on top of that.
For a moment, I forgot that we're talking about the book, and I feel like you are the reason that book was written. I'm not saying that you are, but
Well, that's the next part for sure. So I went home and my mom bought me a bunch of Skittles. This is how deep it was. I left and I had the Xbox 360 on, had the TV on, and I had the disc tray out. So I could just come home, put that sucker in there. Um, and like every single time I got a new game, I'd rip that thing open and look at the pamphlet and see what I could see before I played the game. And I mean, it was just such a good time. Now you get a piece of paper and that's about it. But
it's like leaving the lyrics out of the CDs.
yeah, exactly. So uh we get it, we go home and I play and I'm playing and it was like freaking 6 o'clock. My mom comes in there and she's like, "Do you just want to play hooky today and play your game?" I was like, "Yeah, mom, I do. Thanks. Go ahead, close the door now." But yeah, it was so fun. And I played that game. I mean, from midnight all the way up until my cousin came over at some point. I want to say like 11 o'clock, and I was still out playing that game. And
Pissing in your Mountain Dew bottle.
yeah, about like it. So I was like, "Michael, come in here. You got to freaking see where I'm at," because he got the game too. And I go in there, and for some reason, I turned the Xbox off, and it didn't save. And so I had to play through all that stuff again. But it's so beautiful, and I was like right at the tail end of the game.
Mm.
But I play the game, and I'd never played the legendary version of it, and until my cousins started coming over, and they would help me beat the legendary edition, or setting. So freaking at the end of the game, spoilers for Halo 3. At the end of the game, there's this whole scene where you freaking have to drive the Warhog and get in the back of the ship, and it's taken off and everything, and it breaks up, and he says something to Cortana, and he's all this awesome cinematic stuff. And then it flashes over, like his black screen flashes over to the corporal or whoever was over him. And he was like, "Yeah, today we've lost some good men," and all this other stuff. And they do a 21 gun salute and all this. And it pans over to a wing of a broken up Pelican. And you see a bunch of soldiers and like it's like a memorial.
Mhm.
And then at the very end, you see etched in, like he scratched it in there, 117, which is Master Chief's number. And literally, I'm pretty sure I cried. Like, not boo.
I imagined like you and your cousins all like,
No, it's just me. I was sitting there by myself, beat this game. It was probably nighttime again because I had to play through it all over again. And I'm literally sitting there like, my God, Master Chief's dead. I can't believe this. My hero, he's done.
Mhm.
He's gone. And I'm pretty sure I shed like 1 or 2 tears. I was just like, like
I'll
do a,
send them
do a
a quick
little
like,
salute.
right.
I was in cadets at the time too, so I can imagine like doing a
Oh my
little
God.
salute.
Yeah.
But so obviously you play the legendary edition and you find out that he in fact is not dead, and he's like, "I'll be back in a few years."
I know what this game's doing.
But he's like, "Wake me up when," he pretty much quotes friggin' Green Day and is like, "Wake me up when September ends." But yeah, I mean that was just so amazing, and it's like they butchered it with these, like anything Halo 4, like anything past Halo 4 is just trash. But yeah, that was awesome. And then so here's a little bit of a traumatic one. I don't know how much I'm gonna have to censor of this, but um whenever I was young, a very little kid, we moved into this house, and just the whole experience of the house was traumatic. My mom was single at the time, so just me, her, and my brother, and freaking she hit a bird with her truck one time. Whenever we first moved in, there was a dying cat, like dehydrated, crapping itself everywhere. We were trying to resuscitate it and didn't make it. Ran over our family dog there at some point. We were only there for like a year, and all this stuff happened. But at one point, this kid like flips over in a go-kart, and we like go and help him, and he was like, he's absolutely fine. He's buckled up and everything. But after that, we realized we were about the same age and started hanging out, and he was like, "Hey, you want to, come over to my house and play some PlayStation?" It's like, "Well, freaking heck yeah, somebody pawned mine, so
LAN
may as well." No LAN party. It's
That's the second pawning.
all my. I'm trying to think. My PlayStation didn't get pawned because my nanny bought that, so it stayed over at her house. But yeah, my freaking 64, my PlayStation, and my Xbox, my original Xbox got pawned, and I didn't even get to really play that one. Like literally, I had one game on it and didn't even get to really play. Well, I had one game, and then I also had Matrix, which was trash. But we watched a lot of movies on that. I remember watching Saw on that freaking console. But anyway, so I go over to this guy's house and we're just like hanging out playing. I think it's called Medieval. I'm pretty sure it's where you play as like this, essentially a zombie. And I don't remember the premise of the game, but I remember it's fun. I've always wanted to go back and play it. Um, but we're sitting there playing it, and it keeps on dying in this game. And for some reason, the way he takes out his rage is by taking out his shrimp and then smacking it on the freaking. And I mean, it's not big, so he had to like lay down on it and then freaking smack it on the PlayStation
That
1.
changed you told the story, and obviously re-recording that made it way worse.
Yeah,
like the visual of you saying that is.
I don't know why he did it. I have no idea why he freaking did that.
Again, it reminded me of the kid, the staged video where his mom like cut off his wow and he like remoted his behind.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know. I have zero clue why
emotional
he did that.
damage. 10 to 10. Something happened.
Like I just remember he was like walking around in his boxers. Like we were both.
I just had a vision of he lived with his grandma, right?
Yeah.
Like every time she got upset with something, like the TV didn't work, she'd like slap out her titty and that'll fix it.
Dang.
Anyway.
Yeah. I don't remember. I was born in 91. You guys can do the math. I was born in 91, and I remember living in this house whenever Pokemon Base Set 2 came out. So whatever year that was, that's how old I was.
Okay.
So I just
somewhere in here we'll put the math on that.
I just remember I was still in grade school. Like I was not even in middle school at this point. So very young.
He got emotional damage.
But literally, I went to his grandma. It was nighttime. I was like, I want to go home
right now.
I was like, we lived literally right next door, so it wasn't that big of a deal to go home. But I was like, I want to go home. She's like, why? I was like, I just want to go home. He slapped his wiener on the freaking PlayStation. That's why.
I didn't even tell an adult that.
I don't know.
You don't? Obviously.
I'm telling you, you're
right.
an adult now. My God.
Awkward.
But why would he do that? That's always been my question. Like,
I find him on like some social media platform.
I mean, I've seen him around. I don't know if he's still here now, but I went to high school with him and everything. I never really got, became friends with him again or anything, but
you're the only person in the world who knows he used to do that. Like he's married now and he's like got this deep dark secret and now it's out there.
To slap my PlayStation with my wiener.
My little wiener.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have so many more stories I wanted to talk about, but
you should make your own video and do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to start my gaming channel again and just tell stories about gaming experiences. I need to do Bruce Do.
Right. That'd be good.
So moving on to the kind of adult part of it. So 18 plus. I know. Don't look at my
I wasn't
feet.
looking at your feet, actually.
No. But now we're talking about
we have mentioned feet in probably half of the videos we've.
I'm almost positive it's been every video.
Okay.
I'm almost 100% sure we have mentioned
we
feet
need to do a foot book.
Yeah.
A foot book.
If you want to buy our foot book, go to Patreon and we're gonna have we're gonna have
you've got amazing feet.
We're gonna have a professional photographer take photos of our feet and have a whole.
It's gonna be me or him.
100-page book of coffee table book of our feet. So enjoy that. I'm just kidding. I imagine one day we get big and we actually do that though.
Oh, for sure. We'll put like inspirational sayings over our feet.
We'll get like our what was it they used to do back in the day? They would
I don't know why I had to look at my feet to decide what inspiration I was going to do. Go ahead. Sorry.
You know how back in the day they would bronze baby shoes?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going to do with our feet. Just like get molds of our feet and just have them behind us.
Instead of a clone a willy, clone a foot.
All right. Yeah, pretty much. So, Lara, what was kind of the turning point for you going from like, okay, video games are fun to I'm no lifing this game now? What game was it? And
man.
Yeah.
I mean, you're asking two questions in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Are you wanting to know what game was it? Or are you wanting to know what the turning point?
Well, tell me the game first, and then tell me the turning point.
That's just it. Like, I don't really know. I think it was when I got either the GameCube or the 64 from Goodwill. And it was like super inexpensive. And I like played Gex. I played all the things I didn't have as a kid. You know, I played Mario. I played Banjo and Kazooie. Oh,
I love that game.
That game. Oh man.
That is me and Larry.
I loved it. That we even did that for Halloween one year.
Yep.
Oh, we should throw a photo in here.
I don't even know where to find it.
No, I have one.
We do this every time.
No, I definitively have one because I looked at it. Not the Jinko jeans, but the
whatever jeans you bought.
I almost said Pac Sun. Hot Topic. The Hot Topic jeans. I feel like if somebody could find the flared leg or the Jinko like leg with the like velvety flames, whatever, that'd be money. Somewhere there's a regular photograph, printed one. Anyway, I played all those games and I'm pretty sure I binged them. But really the turning point where it became like an issue was WoW.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody like gave me my first little like, just try it. Just once. It won't hurt you. Anyway, even bought me the PC. Like they wanted me to play that. So yeah, it was WoW. So we're just asking or answering the game right now. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what game was it for you?
It's hard because there were so many games. Yeah, there were so many games that I just like binge played. But I do have to say it was definitely WoW. I think everybody has like this WoW experience. It's definitely something to do with
WoW.
It's something to do with MMOs because it was kind of the same thing with Maple Story. I still like think about that game. If I had a Windows computer, I'd be playing that game right now. It's just so adorable. That's where I had my first wife ever.
Okay.
Ever. I was in like 7th grade and yep. And it could have been a 38-year-old man, but we went to this like certain area. She's like, "Oh, do you want to get married?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, let's go up here." And
were you emotionally invested?
I mean, we talked literally at summer break and we talked every day.
Oh.
Person. But never in person, like never voice talked or anything like that. It was all text from my terrible dyslexic self. And so we went up to this.
She must have really liked you, or she had dyslexia too.
Or she was just illiterate.
Whatever.
So we went up to this place and we get there and we're like, all right, we're going to get married. And then we found out that it cost real life money and neither of us had real life money. So she must have been roughly around my age or poor. So we couldn't get married.
Or was it he?
Yep.
Who knows?
Yeah. It all started with radishes because radishes, you could sell those in the game for coin.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so she was asking for radishes and I was like, I don't even know what that is.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, how cute.
Yep. So that was my first wife. I don't even remember her name.
Happens.
Yep. But yeah, so definitely MMOs, but I would have to say WoW.
For those of you who don't know what an MMO is.
It's a massively, what is it? MMO, massively, I can't remember. It's an online game where a bunch of people can play. Like an almost unlimited amount of people can play. But yeah, Morgan, oh, I don't want to say the last name. I almost messed up there. You know who I'm talking about. He introduced me to WoW back, I mean, right whenever it first came out. I think Burning Crusade may have just came out, maybe. And I played that and I was like hooked immediately. Like I bought it and tried to play it on my nanny's computer, but her computer was so, like the storage was so small, it wouldn't even get all the disc on there. So I had to return it. And it literally, I had to start it and it took days for it. Or it took a whole day for it to download onto the computer. Just for it to
I was going to say just to fail.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, going into my adult life though, I was probably, Juliet was, whatever year, Legend, what is it? Whenever Illidan came back, I can't remember what year that was. I did an unboxing back then. But that was definitely whenever it became a problem. Whenever I spent days trying to get a catfish mount, after that, I was like, okay, this is a problem. Like, that's whenever the downfall of me playing video games started.
You knew it was a problem, and yet kept going.
After I got the catfish and after I did a couple more things, I was like, what am I doing in my life? pretty much. Like, why am I playing video games? I still played them, and I still do today, but not to that degree at all. It was
You are inhuman.
what do you mean?
Like, nobody had to do an intervention. Nobody had to come pull the plug. You're like, huh, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I
It's
mean,
not fair.
it really
Most
started.
people have a brain like that. Definitely not me.
It really started. Like I was really into that, and obviously I had people playing with me, not so much on WoW, but like on Minecraft. I know Life Minecraft for a long time. Whenever that first came out, because and Borderlands, both of those games were games that my friends at the time were playing, and I was playing. So we'd just get on there and talk about our life stories and um, just
Hanging out, the game was kind of cool and
yeah.
secondary.
And that was
and
before
for
like
some
they
people.
had creative mode on Xbox. So we're just sitting there literally breaking bricks and creating worlds, and we were playing like makeshift D&D in there and all this different stuff. And then creative came out, and then our DM literally was like just making worlds all the time in Minecraft. And same thing with Borderlands. Man, Borderlands 2, I put so many hours into that. But yeah, I think it was like
Did anybody ever like address you, like saying,
nope. Everybody, well, at that time, um everybody that I was with, like
was this pre Juliet?
no, so pre-Juliet part, whenever I was like really into video games, like playing Rock Band was my real big thing. Rock Band probably has the most hours of my life into it, and I would still play that crap just because it was fun. At least I was standing up and playing drums and all this other stuff.
I mean, it is interactive music. We already play Rock Band
Yeah,
without the game.
yeah.
I'm
But
a really aggressive drummer.
dang, but the first game that I remember looking at the hours was um Pokemon Emerald, and I had over 100 hours in it, and I was like so proud of that. Like because I
I
mean
spent a third of a year.
pretty much. I mean you play there's only so much that you can do in there. So all I was doing, I mean, I wasn't battling anybody. I wasn't doing like championships or anything. I was just like
Collecting.
leveling up all. I was collecting all the Pokemon and friggin' leveling them up all to like my favorite Pokemon up to 100. That's all I was doing. Me and my cousins both until Pokemon Diamond and Pearl came out. Um, but yeah, so but talking about specifically adulthood, yeah, there's a few games like Overwatch we put a lot of hours into. I was never any good at that one, but put a lot of hours into that because me and my friend group was trying to get good enough so we could, actually play against other people and
Competitive.
stuff. Yeah.
I love doing that.
I mean, I was so into that. So they had the Taco Bell ads at the time, and I was trying to get all the cups. And then you could also put in codes to get like a PS4 or something like that, whatever it was at the time. So yeah, I was doing all that, going to Taco Bell like every single day to get that. Now I do it
I
without
was going to say,
without
you don't even
needing
get
anything.
cups now.
Yeah. But yeah, I think what happened was something happened on like my 21st, 22nd birthday. I was like having this. Oh, hold on before I get into that. Even the people who weren't playing video games were like no lifing TV. So it's like the other people that I was around or the families that I was hanging out with were just like always chronically watching TV or movies. So yeah, nobody ever had a problem with it. And why I went back to childhood was because my mom, they always said I was cracked out on video games, and they never said anything. And I guess it's because I had a good mix of like going outside and staying in at the same time. Um, or even like taking my Game Boy outside with me and playing it out there. So it really wasn't too much of a problem until my adult life, whenever I had my own money, as long as I was working, everything was fine and making money and all this different stuff. And even the year that I didn't work and I was trying to do YouTube, um, the best I could, golly, freak. I mean, that was a different time. They didn't have freaking Elgato back then. It was a mess. But even then, whenever I tried to do that, nobody ever said anything. Nobody ever was like, "Hey, you're playing too many video games." So I'd like stay up all night and day playing WoW, and then Juliet's just started school, so it's like I'd wake up, take her to school, and then come back and play WoW all day, and then go pick her up, and that was like my whole day. And then I would hang out with her for a while. So there's something in that time frame where I finally like. I remember during my birthday that year, I was like going through this existential thing where it's like what the heck is my life? Like I felt like Mewtwo and friggin' Mewtwo Strikes Back.
I love that you're talking about a gaming addiction and then comparing yourself to a game.
That was not the game. That was the anime. Okay, get it right.
Okay.
But yeah, Mewtwo is pretty much like, what am I? What do I do in my life? Why was I created? That's how I felt pretty much, just like ultimate edgelord. And then shortly after that, that's whenever I started working at a certain place and started getting a little bit of friend group and met you and all this different stuff. And just because I had so many distractions outside of video games, I think that's kind of what, finally cut me off from that. Like I still played video games a little bit. But then just having you as my wife, it made it easier because you're active and it's like, yeah, there's still times like if a new Pokemon game comes out, I'm going to be spending the day that comes out playing that game. Period. I just enjoy playing that game. But
I think I didn't want to interrupt. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I think you deserve that. Like I knew when we got together, just by the things that you would say, that you definitely, and I would say I even enjoyed that aspect that you, which is weird now that I think about my perspective on it, but I enjoyed the fact that you enjoyed those kind of things, the more simple things in life.
Yeah.
And obviously like the kids love that because they can relate to you. But anytime I know that a game is coming out or you're getting a game, I like to watch you play games. And I didn't really get it. I'm not much of I don't want to say a streamer, but I don't like watching other people play games.
Yeah.
I like watching you play games. And so I know if you're going to go pick something up, like take the day, I'll make you food. I'll clean up behind you. I will bring you chargers, whatever that is, because you work so hard outside of that and have very little time to enjoy that. How dare I? And I've never felt any negative ways. I think it would be much different if you came home every day and that's what you did. And if it wasn't something that A, we were doing together, and B, based on my own experience, I couldn't do that. Or if it was taken away from us, which I can very well see if that was the issue. Like I couldn't be in the relationship.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah. I mean, and even now it's like, I don't think I did this with God of War. I think that's the most recent game, excuse me, where I just like played it without streaming it or anything. And I kind of wish I did because it was fun. I had some pretty good reactions in that, and it was a fun game. But even with newer games, I feel like if I'm just playing it to play it, I feel like it's just pointless. There's no point in me playing a video game without recording it. Like even if I'm not making money on it or anything like that, because I'm not making money recording me playing. But whenever I go back and edit it and I hear those funny reactions, what's going on? What's that smarmy little look about?
That smart me again. I shall not say. That's a Patreon comment I got coming in here. Go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, it's pretty much like I don't want to
waste content.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a waste of time for me to play a video game and not record it. Like I see Aaron playing video games all the time. I'm like, why aren't you recording that? Go record that. And his buddy's starting to do that. And it's like, even with 30 subscribers on his channel, he just uploaded it today and he already had 7 views on it. And I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Like they have like 200 views on one of their, they only have 3 videos and he has like 200 views. And this is on a very niche thing. It's Ghost of War on VR. Like how many people are actually watching that? Well, obviously at least 200,
right?
So I mean that kid, he has the proper mindset of like, okay, I want to make this.
Oh, at this point, anything in life, if you're going to do anything in life, if you're going to do it, might as well record it because that's people like to watch. I mean, if you're here watching, hopefully, I don't know how much of education this particular episode is, but you can relate. And when we talk about that, you'll be able to say, oh, I felt that way, or I remember that game. And, if you're throwing back something, you're like, oh, I'm trying to look up something about Mario or whatever, having other people who share that or who capture those moments. I can't tell you how many times I've Googled trying to be a certain level or a certain thing. So
anyway, especially for me. So speaking of education, let me see. Yeah, we're about time to wrap it up, but I do want to throw in the education part because all this part was preamble to the actual education part. But
Well, if you don't mind, I
Mhm.
think from a girl standpoint, maybe me sharing why I got into video
Yeah,
games.
for sure.
Um, so I love how hype you are that.
Well, I thought you already shared that part, so that's okay.
Okay. Um,
That was my fault.
it's okay. Uh, I definitely got into video games to distract myself.
Mm,
Like the console games were fun, and I, much like you, was in an environment. I'm trying to think back at the time. In the environment I was in, like most of the time, and especially I didn't have my own car, or I had a car, but I had to share the car. And then
mhm,
I was stay at home for like a year and some change. So that was my entertainment. I'd play with the kids somewhat, or like my cousin would come over.
mhm.
The other cousin would come over. That's rude. I feel like you're not the cool cousin, but
Yeah.
no, you were the best cousin. Anyway, yeah, we would play together, and sometimes we would play like as a group. What was it? Mario Party. Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
that was so much fun. But when I got introduced to WoW, I was not working. This was much like you, right before we got started working at
Mhm,
that place and then got together. Um, I did not want to be at home at all. And I found somebody who had just stopped working, and they wanted to be a stay at home mom. So we kind of just, bonded together and, oh, well, now that you have time, you should play that. And I found a camaraderie in like the people that I was playing with. This person already had their online clique and their online friends. And I definitely, honestly speaking, got a lot of fulfillment out of the just you don't know who's on the other end of
mhm.
that. I mean, I did at that point because we had Discord, and
Yeah.
yeah, we would just, I think we FaceTime sometimes as a group. What's another? They're sharing like video
Mhm.
conference, whatever platforms. So we would
Skype.
all Skype. Yeah, it was Skype,
Yep.
actually. Um, So we would all hang out, and like you'd start to form real relationships with
Mhm,
people. Like you felt like if I turned off this console, like I would actually be with this person
mhm.
and talk to them. And a lot of them I did, like outside, like the daily life to life, moments we would chit chat about, and we'd all go on and play. And um, that was fun.
Mhm.
But then I'm a collector, and I'm
Mhm.
like all about the achievements and things like that. So with WoW, I was in the little mist pets,
Yep.
and I didn't even keep them out, but it was like they're so cute. I even did an art piece with them.
Oh my god.
Like I had to have them. And then I like doing the like outfits and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and then
See,
collecting mounts.
mine was the mounts for sure. I enjoyed the pets, but because was brought up on Pokemon and they were trying to be Pokemon, I was like, yeah, it's not exactly the same. I had some that I liked from like collector's editions of what's it called? Anyway, collector's editions of certain games. I would have those, and I would always have those out. But um, yeah, I wanted to touch on what you were just saying about the social aspect of it. For me, I'm kind of weird whenever it comes to gaming and online gaming and communicating with people because it's like I was completely fine with the three people that I hung out with, right, in real life. Because we play D&D together, then we get off, and then for a few days we would just play Borderlands or WoW or whatever. And then we would play like another game was Mass Effect. We played a lot of that. I never even beat the story. Everybody was just playing that online, so I got that to play online with them. But they met somebody online, and they started talking to her, and like she was cool, but I never could really build that real relationship with her. And then there was another guy that they knew, where we get the term king from. That king is not a good thing. King is a very, very negative thing. It's a very much a
It's a replacement for a cuss word in this
Yep.
house.
Yep. So uh I could never really connect with him because I'm not seeing him in person. So I don't know
It
what
goes
it is.
back to the words of affirmation and versus the gifts, like that tangible, I
Yeah.
could see it, whatever.
Yeah, that real quality time, I guess. But anyway, you were saying?
I'm trying to think of where I was at in that. So I'd formed obviously the friendships, and then I enjoyed the going on. Like I really spent most of my time at first when everybody's like, "Oh, let's hop on." I get super squirrely. So if I'm like this in any video game, and pretty much this is my real life, but online, we're supposed to go from point A to point B. You have a specific mission in mind, and I'm like, oh, what's behind this tree, and oh, what can I find here, and what's this do, and clicking stuff. And I was probably the worst person to play with, but I had such a good time.
Yeah.
And then I started where like I was having a hard time sleeping, so I'd just get on and play. And the kids were all kind of like preoccupied. And I definitely, because of my depression at home and because of the circumstances in life, that was an escape. Like, people who play Sims and build that perfect house. And I very well could meet a total stranger. And I've met some of these people in real life at some point. So it started off that way. And it was just a place where I could be who I wanted to be and didn't have to worry about any of that. And I could, I had people like gift me the rarest mounts that they had in the game. Like when I got rid of that account, I gave it to some friend I had at the time. And like he got thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
Oh, my word.
Unreal amount. It was unreal. Unreal how much stuff. And, just making friends and people, guys are like, here's a mount, whatever,
It's like guys buying a drink for a girl at a bar.
No, but the top shelf, absolutely. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the validation that I would get, and it didn't seem real because, like, oh well, it's just you and me and here. But if you put you behind a computer screen and 7 states away or a whole continent away, like I could get that fulfillment that I wasn't getting at home. But I wasn't really doing anything wrong. Hindsight, absolutely. Allowing myself to be that open or flirtatious or whatever it was, absolutely wrong. Then Overwatch came out. It met collector versus short match. But didn't matter because I spent so many times in it, and I was good. And they had like the cute sprays or the stickers or stuff. And when you were like play the game, and it was the first game that I was like actually legitimately good at. Like people would say, "Oh, will you come play this character? Will you come play this?" And that was it. I was done. Oh, sold. I didn't care who I played with. I played competitive by myself. I didn't need a team. I didn't even care if I was on the headset with them. I didn't understand how serious people took it at the time. Yeah, whatever. But all of it was because I was completely miserable in my real life. I would not, as much as I enjoyed that game, as much as I was good at that or wow and enjoyed that, I know if I pick that up, I have an addictive personality. I like living my real life. Like I'm already mad we don't have enough time now to do what we want to do without screens, So
what she's saying, guys, is give us a little bit of time to build up some finances and get WoW again, and we will be streaming.
We will have a different channel because it will be just Bjorn. And Bjorn, the actual wanderer, or I'll be the wanderer, because I know that, especially knowing you and your hyperfixations and me and my addictive personality, that if we went down that rabbit hole,
good time.
And it hurt the kids. Like this is ultimately, we can end on whatever you want to, but I do want to say for those of you out there, and the book will get into certain aspects of that, but I'm saying as like a parenting standpoint, I felt like, well, they were just doing their own thing. It wasn't like we were going anywhere or doing anything. It was just like I get up at early on Saturday morning and have no concept of time. And then it's been 5 hours and they're trying to like live their life and engage me. And I'm just so sucked into that. And I couldn't have, it was that or, do terrible things, to cope. So. I'm done.
Yeah, so I guess the moral of that story, and I mean yours is similar to mine, where it's like I wasn't talking to other people per se, but I was definitely watching. I mean, I was playing this and watching a lot of anime, and then going and playing D&D a lot, just to escape from my little world that I was in, because of whatever aspects that were going on in that time. So I'm I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus or anything because it wasn't necessarily. It was on me for doing that. But if you find yourself, and I'm going to kind of start to wind it down here, um, if you find yourself spending copious amounts of time, I mean, you saw the average. Oh no, you didn't. I didn't do that part. There's a website that I'll have a link to that has a bunch of statistics, and a lot of the statistics are based around 1 hour a week. Most people play for multiple hours a day, just as a casual gamer. Um, so if you're finding yourself playing multiple, like copious amounts of hours a day or a week or whatever, um, start looking introspectively, because what might be going on is actually depression. You might be kind of coping with this because, like, for me, a lot of my life was gotta both get up for that one. um Most of my life I was being babysat by video games. Like, that was my babysitter for, I mean, a long time in my life. um so whenever something stressful was going on, turn to video games. Whenever something good's
Distraction.
going on, video games.
Yeah.
Whatever it was video games. So that led in, and it talks about that in the book too. But it led into whenever things were going bad in my past life, um, video games, and then I just got stuck in doing that. So if you're doing that, if you're playing video, like coming home from work, coming home from school, or don't have a job or going to school, and you're just playing as soon as you wake up in the morning, you're getting up and playing video games, there might be a deeper issue than what you think. And that also applies for people who do the same thing and are streaming on YouTube and not getting any views, not getting anything, but you think you're going to live that dream. You might actually be coping.
Right.
And so maybe look into that. I'm saying there's definitely a healthy boundary for everything that I'm saying here, whether it's you wanting to stream,
Everything in moderation.
whether you're wanting to do any of this stuff. And you'll hear a lot of Twitch streamers saying, well, you just have to be on. You have to be on. And so you're not getting paid to do that, though. They're getting paid, thousands of dollars per stream to be on all the time, like they're on. So don't compare yourself to them. Don't compare yourself to Corey Kenshin or anybody else. If you're wanting to, do YouTube and stream and record and all this other stuff,
You
compare
should throw
yourself.
in the statistic, like put it in my hand of how many people actually become successful
Yeah.
streamers.
I mean, even then, it's like, don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to yourself from yesterday. And
That's deep.
yeah, I mean, that's what I would say about, the streaming and recording part. I mean, it's like Mr. B said,
I would not
make,
quote him.
I mean,
I'm just joking.
it's good advice. Make 100 videos and each time improve on it, kind of thing. And this thing applies for streams. Like, try to apply different, and never mind, it's not really, I'll finish that thought, but it's not really part of this conversation. Um, you know, if you're just starting out and you don't have any overlays, the next video, do overlays, do some research on that. But anyway, what I'm getting at is, don't become obsessed with video games. Otherwise, you might have some deeper issues that you need to resolve. And I'm not saying if you are that person to quit cold turkey. Like, if you're spending 14 hours a day playing video games, try cutting and set a timer. For the first week, just set a timer and say, okay, like a more like a stopwatch, or yeah, no, a timer, whatever. Record your time on how long you're actually playing. And at the end of the week, if it's a consecutive, like, okay, I'm playing 14 hours a day, then tomorrow set yourself a 12-hour timer.
Or get up every few,
Well, I'm trying to come up with ways to, allow yourself to be able to play, but start to incrementally take that time away until it's down to 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, something like that. And then fill that time with something else. Like, it's easy for me to say touch a grass, because I mean, we live in a place that has a nice bike trail right next to us. But hey, find a different hobby, even if it's like Pokemon cards. Don't go out and blast your money all off on that, but get a deck and find a friend or go to. I'm sure wherever you're at, there might be a card shop that has like a place that you can play, or D&D. D&D is really easy to get into. You pretty much buy some dice and then one book, and then you go and play with a group. You find a little group, and you can, well, I wouldn't say play online because then you can get wrapped up in that too. But um, find something outside of the house, or even inside the house if you're collecting something, and just do that in increments. Other than video games. But the main moral of the story is, like, if you're playing copious amounts, you're probably depressed and you need to get some better help. I wish this video was sponsored
Plugged.
by.
I was going to say, let me plug them real quick.
So, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good jazz. I think we forgot to say that at the beginning.
Hit the bell.
Yep. Do all that stuff. This was fun.
Oh, my intro was really good in the last video, because hit the bell, like the Mario cat bell, which brings us to why we're here.
Yep.
Still good.
This was a fun video. I enjoyed this one. Just kind of off the cuff kind of thing, kind of consolidating it because how many times we had to record. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed us just talking about our little lives here.
I feel like there's going to be a point where I look exceptionally disinterested because something shiny happened on my fingernail.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not. I was listening, but
But yeah, until next time, stay out there. The catchphrase is "Stay out there" because we are. Something like that.
Is that what it is?
Something like that. Something like this.
Next time when we come back, we're going to know the name of the book because we're going to mention it, and
Yep.
I'm going to know my job, my catchphrase, whatever.
Yep.
Because we are.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next
Can we try one more time? Sorry.
All right. Yeah.
Go,
All right, everybody. Remember, stay a little odd.
Because we are. That didn't feel right, but it's fine.
That's all right. See you later.